If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. The Cleveland Browns have made a move that, at first glance, might seem small on the transaction wire, but in the grander scheme of things, it tells us a lot about how this franchise is approaching roster depth, player development, and the ever-changing dynamic of a long NFL season. Earlier today, the team officially announced the signing of wide receiver Luke Floria to the practice squad, while parting ways with defensive end KJ Henry in a corresponding move. Now, for the casual fan, this might be just another headline buried in a sea of weekly signings and releases, but if you dig a little deeper into who Floria is, where he comes from, and what he might bring to the table, this is actually a fascinating little storyline about resilience, potential, and opportunity knocking at the perfect time. Luke Floria's journey is a true Ohio football story, and that already makes it resonate with the Browns faithful. He grew up in Mentor, Ohio, a place that lives and breathes the sport, and he carved out a reputation as a talented, gritty receiver with just enough flair to catch the attention of college recruiters. Rated as a 3-star recruit and ranked as the number 244 receiver in the 2020 recruiting class, he wasn't the kind of 5-star headline grabber you'd see plastered all over recruiting sites, but he was steady, reliable, and he showed flashes of explosiveness that made evaluators believe he could blossom at the next level. Eventually, he committed to Kent State, a program that doesn't always dominate national conversations, but has built a reputation for unearthing overlooked talent and giving them the runway to grow. At Kent State, Floria put in the work and proved he belonged. Across 5 seasons, he suited up in 47 games, showcasing durability and consistency that coaches at any level crave. His numbers tell a story of a receiver who grew into his role: 100 catches, 1,302 receiving yards, and 12 touchdowns. These aren't video game numbers, but they paint the picture of a player who became a dependable target over time. He wasn't afraid to get involved in the run game either, adding 4 carries for 23 yards and even punching in a rushing touchdown. More than the stats, though, what stands out is that Floria kept improving, kept battling, and kept putting himself in position for opportunities. That persistence paid off when the Browns gave him a shot as an undrafted free agent following the 2025 NFL Draft. It was the kind of hometown story that sparks excitement among fans who love seeing local kids get a chance to wear the orange and brown. Unfortunately, as is often the case in the NFL, his first chapter didn't go exactly to plan. Floria was waived with an injury designation during training camp, a reminder of just how brutal and unforgiving the league can be when you're fighting for one of those final roster spots. For many players, that could have been the end of the road. But here's where Floria's resilience shines through once again. He rehabbed, stayed ready, and kept working for the next opportunity. And now, that opportunity has come full circle, back with the Cleveland Browns. So what does a signing like this mean? First, it tells you that the Browns are always scanning for talent to stash on the practice squad, especially at wide receiver. The NFL season is a grind. Injuries pile up, and the depth chart can get thin in a hurry. Having someone like Floria, who already has a baseline familiarity with the system, gives the coaching staff insurance and flexibility. Practice squad spots aren't just for players to fill in when bodies are needed. They're developmental opportunities. This is where coaching staffs test players, help them refine their craft, and see if they can make the leap from the periphery to the active roster. For Floria, this is the perfect laboratory to prove that his game can translate against NFL-caliber competition on a daily basis. For fans, this move is also easy to root for. Here's a local kid, an underdog, who has scratched and clawed his way back into the league. You can already imagine the storyline if Floria works his way up to the active roster and makes a meaningful play in a game. The energy in Cleveland would explode. It's the kind of feel-good narrative that underscores why football is more than just a sport in this town. It's part of the culture, the identity, the fabric of daily life. When someone like Floria represents that story, it hits differently. Of course, this move didn't come without sacrifice, as the Browns released defensive end KJ Henry to make room. Henry's departure is noteworthy too, as it highlights the constant churn and cutthroat nature of roster management. Practice squad players know that every week could bring a change, and while Henry certainly has talent, The team clearly felt they needed another body at wide receiver more urgently than keeping depth at defensive end. That doesn't necessarily close the book on Henry's NFL story, but it does remind us that opportunity and timing dictate so much of what happens in this league. One man's release is another man's chance. Zooming out, this all happened on the heels of a wild NFL Monday night where the Detroit Lions out-Ravened the Ravens, stealing headlines with a gritty and unexpected win that shook up the AFC conversation. For Browns fans, watching a divisional rival stumble while your own team quietly retools its roster behind the scenes is a subtle but significant subplot. The Browns know that every edge matters, whether it's adding a practice squad receiver who might contribute later in the year or capitalizing on a division opponent slipping up in prime time. The chessboard is constantly shifting, and the best organizations stay 2 steps ahead. Now, let's get back to Floria and what he actually brings to the table as a football player. At Kent State, he showed versatility as a receiver capable of working in space, finding soft spots in zones, and occasionally stretching the field. He isn't necessarily the kind of burner who blows past defenders with raw speed, but his game is built more on polish, timing, and reliable hands. Coaches love receivers who can be where they're supposed to be, run precise routes, and secure the football when it comes their way. Add to that his willingness to contribute in the run game, and you start to see why the Browns think he's worth keeping around. He's the kind of player who might not flash on the highlight reels every week, but in a league where execution and reliability separate the winners from the losers, he has traits that could make him a valuable piece. And then there's the intangible side. Floria's story isn't just about stats and tape. It's about persistence, toughness, and heart. Every locker room needs guys like that. Veterans see the work ethic and respect it. Coaches see the hunger and embrace it. Teammates see the grind and rally behind it. That's how underdog stories become locker room glue. And that's why even a practice squad signing can have ripple effects that go beyond the field. The Browns clearly believe he fits the culture they're building, one that emphasizes resilience, blue-collar work, and seizing opportunities when they come. This signing might not dominate the national news cycle, but for Cleveland, it's another reminder that football is played not only by the superstars, but also by the grinders, the overlooked, and the ones who refuse to quit. Luke Floria embodies that. And who knows, someday, when the Browns are deep into the season and injuries force them to dip into their practice squad, maybe Floria will be the guy who gets the call. Maybe he'll catch that critical third down pass, move the chains, and spark a game-winning drive. If that happens, we'll look back on this quiet little transaction and realize it was anything but small. For now, it's about the grind, the preparation, and the belief that a dream is still alive. And for Browns fans, that's the kind of story worth cheering for. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. The NFL world is buzzing tonight after what insiders are calling one of the most shocking locker room incidents of the season. Myles Garrett, the Cleveland Browns defensive titan, apparently exploded in a confrontation with Dillon Gabriel, and sources say the aftermath left teammates and staff alike stunned. This isn't just your usual sideline squabble or heated exchange after a rough play. The whispers coming out of Cleveland suggest a level of intensity and raw emotion that few have ever witnessed in the modern game. It's the kind of story that spreads quickly among players, journalists, and fans alike, the kind that fuels debates, social media threads, and late-night podcasts. The initial spark, according to the grapevine, came during what was supposed to be a routine practice session. Garrett, known for his explosive energy on the field, reportedly confronted Gabriel over a sequence of plays that the defensive end felt showed a lack of awareness or accountability. One source close to the team hinted that Garrett's frustration had been simmering for weeks, with Gabriel's performance in recent games, or even in practice, being the proverbial straw that broke the camel's back. When words weren't enough, tensions escalated quickly, and some teammates had to physically step in to prevent the situation from becoming worse. What makes this story even more sensational is the reported timing and location. The confrontation didn't happen in some quiet corner or away from prying eyes. It reportedly unfolded right in the middle of the locker room, with other players just a few steps away. Eyewitnesses described the scene as electric, with the usual post-practice chatter giving way to stunned silence. Garrett, whose reputation as a fierce competitor is well known, apparently didn't hold back, his words sharp and direct, aimed squarely at Gabriel. Gabriel, for his part, reportedly tried to de-escalate, but sources say the younger quarterback was visibly rattled, caught off guard by the sheer intensity of Garrett's approach. Rumors suggest that what started as a verbal exchange may have nearly turned physical, and it took the intervention of coaches and veteran players to calm the situation. There's no confirmation of any punches thrown, but the intensity alone has everyone talking. The locker room, usually a place of camaraderie and strategic discussions, became a stage for raw emotion and high stakes, leaving everyone involved and onlookers questioning what could have led to such a volatile moment. Adding to the intrigue, the timing of this alleged confrontation couldn't be more dramatic. The Browns are deep in the season, and every game carries weight for playoff positioning. Emotions are running high, and the pressure to perform is palpable. Sources suggest that Garrett's frustration isn't just about a single practice session. It's tied to broader concerns about team cohesion, leadership, and execution on the field. Gabriel, still relatively new and trying to find his rhythm in the league, may have inadvertently triggered one of the most intense emotional outbursts in recent team history. What's fueling the rumors further is the lack of an official statement from either player. The Browns organization has remained tight-lipped, issuing only a brief, generic comment about team focus and professionalism, which, of course, only adds fuel to the fire. Fans, reporters, and insiders are left to piece together the story from scattered sources, locker room whispers, and social media speculation, each detail making the story seem larger and more dramatic than the last. The fallout from such incidents can be unpredictable, especially when it involves a high-profile defensive force like Garrett. Some insiders suggest this could mark a turning point in the team's internal dynamics. Will it lead to an accountability push, stricter locker room discipline, or even a shift in roles and responsibilities? Others are already speculating about possible media storms in the coming days, with hot takes and opinion segments dissecting every angle. The narrative is irresistible because it combines two classic ingredients: a star athlete known for intensity, and a young player trying to prove himself in a high-pressure environment. The tension between experience and youth, power and potential, leadership and accountability. These are the elements that make locker room rumors so magnetic to fans and commentators alike. The story has all the drama of a playoff game, except it's happening behind closed doors, where every gesture, glance, and raised voice carries amplified meaning. Sources close to the team report that the incident sparked immediate discussions among the coaching staff. Veteran players are said to have gathered around, attempting to mediate, offering perspective, and urging professionalism. Garrett, known for his commitment to excellence, apparently made his feelings crystal clear. He expects everyone on the field to perform at a certain standard, and when that standard isn't met, frustration follows. Gabriel, according to insiders, took the confrontation seriously, and there are reports that he immediately sought to adjust, demonstrating the kind of responsiveness coaches hope for but rarely see under fire. The intensity of the encounter, combined with the high stakes of the season, has fans speculating about potential long-term implications. Could this confrontation galvanize the team, pushing players to elevate their performance, or will it leave lingering tension that threatens locker room harmony? Analysts and commentators are already weighing in, each offering theories, historical parallels, and predictions about how this drama might affect upcoming games. The story spread has been almost instantaneous, with clips, photos, and secondhand accounts circulating among fans and media outlets. Even those who weren't present in the locker room are forming opinions, creating a sort of collective narrative fueled by speculation and a craving for insider details. Some fans are defending Garrett, emphasizing his dedication and unwillingness to accept mediocrity. Others are sympathetic to Gabriel, noting the challenges a young quarterback faces when stepping into a high-pressure environment with established stars. The dichotomy is fascinating because it highlights two essential truths about professional sports. Passion and vulnerability often coexist in volatile ways, and the line between leadership and aggression can blur dramatically in high-stakes moments. While the official narrative remains sparse, the rumor mill continues to churn. Social media posts hint at hushed conversations, cryptic comments from teammates, and strategic silence from the coaching staff. Every comment, no matter how minor, is dissected for hidden meaning. The anticipation is palpable as fans wait for the next piece of the puzzle, an interview, a press conference, or a game-time performance that might reveal whether the incident has lasting repercussions. Some insiders are suggesting that this confrontation might even become a defining moment for Garrett and Gabriel alike, testing their resilience, leadership, and ability to navigate conflict. For the Browns, it's a reminder that success on the field is inseparable from chemistry off it. A single eruption, even if momentary, can ripple through a team in unexpected ways, influencing not just morale but performance in critical games. In the end, what makes this story so compelling isn't just the clash itself, it's the uncertainty surrounding it. The lack of confirmation, the intensity of first-hand accounts, and the sheer reputation of the individuals involved have created a narrative that feels larger than life. Garrett's outburst, Gabriel's reaction, the stunned locker room, and the buzzing rumor mill all combine to produce a spectacle that's part drama, part mystery, and entirely irresistible to sports fans everywhere. As the league moves forward and the Browns prepare for their next challenge, all eyes will be on these two players, not just for their performance on the field, but for how this confrontation might reshape dynamics, attitudes, and ultimately, the season itself. And if the whispers are true, we may have just witnessed the beginning of a storyline that will dominate conversations, debates, and headlines for weeks to come. Thanks for riding with us on another Browns Blitz. If you liked the video, share it with a fellow fan, hit subscribe, and ring that bell so you're always part of the Dawg Pound conversation. Go Browns!